Day 2 of the winter meetings is over, and so far, nothing has happened. Welcome back to another episode of the Met Shit Pod. I'm your host, Met Shit Posting. My last episode was only 20 minutes long I recorded right after work. I was pretty tired. Still pretty tired right now. Didn't have work, but got up early, get up early again. You know, the grind. It is what it is. But I just wanted to hop on here for a little bit and really just talk about what's been happening so far and more so what's not happening. I mean, compared to last year's winter meetings, we signed Soto today, and that was the biggest free agent contract ever. So it's just shocking to me that no big deals have gone down so far. I've been in the baseball for a long time, but I gotta admit, I've always been more of the casual fan. I've kept up with what happens and who they get, but mainly just focus on the Mets. So when the Mets would get a free agent, obviously I knew about it. Or when a big free agent signed, I would know about it. But I was never really into the winter meetings and very deep into this. So last year, being aware of Soto signing and knowing that the winter meetings were just going on, and my first impression of the winter meetings was that Soto signed with the Mets. I thought that this time was going to be the free agent, everything was just going to fall. And to see that not happening yet, to me is just weird, but it's almost expected. In every other sport, free agency usually concludes the first few days. But baseball is very odd. I don't know how it really is in hockey, but I know in the NFL, as soon as free agency begins, people just start signing. They almost have their teams picked out beforehand. But in the MLB, it's a shock if something happens before Thanksgiving, which is crazy. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. I mean, this off seasons are so long and so drawn out, and everybody's interested in everybody. Everyone is talking to everybody. It's like speed dating almost. Okay, the Mets are talking to Kyle Schwarber. They're also talking to Framber Valdez and Michael King and this guy and that guy. They're talking to everybody, and so are the Padres, and so are the Cubs, and so are the Rockies. I'm really not going to take any of these interested rumors really hard or really to heart until I hear contracts being offered, because then I'm just wasting time. I want to post about things, and I do. I'm not saying this to stop me. I'm just saying from a general standpoint that nothing's being done. Everyone's waiting on Schwarber to sign. That's the big thing, I guess. That's what a lot of reports are, that everyone's waiting on Schwarber to fall, and then from there, that's what happens. Whoever gets Schwarber, or wherever Schwarber decides to sign, that's going to move all the chess pieces and just fucking collapse. Which I'm not surprised by, because he finished second in MVP voting, but he's also DH. So I guess teams really don't value defense as much as we thought. And that's also why I don't think the Mets are going to get Schwarber, because he doesn't play defense. And you just traded Brandon Nimmo for defense. So my thing is, if you're going to commit, you have to commit. You have to go all in. You have to stick to your brand. You have to have an identity. And if any of you guys watch Breaking Bad, there's a scene where Walt doesn't do something. I forgot what it was. And he kind of screws him over. And he tries to half measure it. And then Mike gives him this talk. He's like when I was a cop, this big guy was beating up this girl, and he ended up killing her because we let him go a bunch of times. And he's from that day on, no half measures. You cannot do a half measure, right? If you're going for defense, then fucking go all in for defense. Get Marcus Semien, then go get Cody Bellinger, because Cody Bellinger is a great defenseman. And if David Stearns goes out and signs Kyle Schwarber, who doesn't play defense at all, and I'm dude, what are you doing then? What are we doing? I understand he'll fit in the DH spot, but then it might be good if you get Bellinger then, and he plays first and left field, or you figure out first base. I don't know. I just think that signing Pete and having him work on defense and then signing Bellinger to be a defensive outfielder would just be the smart move. Then you have Tyrod Taylor in center, which we all know is a great defender, but can't really hit, and Bellinger could play center, and then you switch him in for a late-game defensive replacement. But when you trade away a fan-favorite guy for, a 35-year-old second baseman who's going to play good defense because you need to improve your defense, but then you go sign a big-name DH, it's like, dude, you got to pick one. You can't pick and choose. You guys get what I'm saying? I'm talking to nobody right now, but if you're in the car or wherever you're all listening to this, I hope you're nodding your head. Because you can't say you want to do something and then half it. Then then what's your identity? The best teams have identities, right? Like the Dodgers, that they're just never out of a game. The Yankees, their identity is they're going to hit the ball out of the fucking ballpark at any time. The Padres had their bullpen, right? Every team builds on something. In 2015, when the Mets made the World Series, they were built on their starting pitching. And hey, David Stearns, if you haven't realized, the best way to prevent runs is to have good pitching, right? You could have a team of misfits out there, but if the guys don't hit the fucking ball, you don't have to worry about that. So go get a pitcher. Your first year, dude, listen. You signed Jose Quintana, you signed Luis Severino, and it worked great. It worked great. No one's complaining. Right? We were skeptical at first. We were like, yo, what is he doing? Why is he signing these has-beens? And he made it to LCS. Good. Great. Wonderful. I love it. Last year was a complete and utter failure because you tried to do the same thing again. You caught lightning in a bottle once, and it didn't work. And these pitchers are not as good as you thought they were going to be. And stuff like that happens once every 50 years where a team that's not supposed to be that good just gets super hot at the right time and kind of comes together and rides that wave. That doesn't happen. That's not how you build consistency. He's always talking about building a farm system, which he has done. I will give him that. But he's talking about being consistent year in and year out. Signing Paul Blackburn and Frankie Montas is not being consistent. Drop your balls on the table. Say we're signing Michael King or Framber Valdez. Go make a big trade. Go get Freddie Peralta, dude. Go get him. Or go get Joe Ryan. Go get Chris Bubich. I'm going to go over those guys right here because I have some stats while I'm at it. So, Joe Ryan, 3.42 ERA. He's got a great fastball, very low walk rate, and a 1.04 whip. Good. Better than any starter we fucking have. Now, I'm not huge on Joe Ryan because these other two guys' stats kind of blow him out of the water, and people are we need Joe Ryan. He's young and has control. I'm well, I don't really care how young he is. If these guys are better and we can re-sign them, let's go get these guys. People complain about not wanting to sign Pete and Edwin for too long, and it's dude, you have the money, man. I can see more of Edwin because he relies on his velocity. And as you get older, his velocity is probably just going to dip. So I'm not mad about not giving Edwin that long. But for Pete, dude, first base is a position that you're just fat. And you can just sit there and you cover the bag. Just learn to make a good throw to first base. That's all you got to do. That's all he has to work on in the offseason. Throw it to first base. Throw it to the pitcher. That's it. And if he sucks at first base, then you put him at DH. Then you figure out your DH problem. You DH Pete every day. Who cares if he doesn't like it? It's not his fucking choice. He's not Kevin Durant. It's if Pete's going to sign, you say, hey, listen, for the better of this team, we think your defense, start him at first base, and if at the All-Star game, his defense is almost unplayable, be dude, we're putting you at DH. We got to figure something out. And, it's not his call. Sorry, if he re-signs with us. So, lie to him a little bit and be yeah, we're going to play your first base, man. You're our first base in the future, 100%. Then be yeah, well, you kind of suck, so we're putting you DH. Well, what's he going to do? Trade me? DH and just because you get the hit? I don't know what some players' problem is with, the pride of playing defense. Dude, if I was an MLB player, I would just want to hit. DH is his best position. You don't have to worry about fucking up in the field. You just get to go up there and mash. That's the best job. That's like being the backup quarterback. You get to just do one thing. Well, maybe not the backup quarterback, but like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like a top job in sports. You just get the hit. Everyone wants to hit. Like, you know, like when you're growing up, is everyone like, oh, I want to be a Gold Glover. I want to be the best person at fielding ground balls. No, everyone's like, I want to hit a fucking bomb over the fence. Like, sorry. If I was Pete, I'd be like, hey, DH me, bro. Like, I don't give a shit. All right, so that's Joe Ryan. Freddie Peralta, 2.7 ERA, 29 years old. He's got a year left on his contract. 1.075 whip, 66 walks, over 200 strikeouts, and 176 innings pitched. That's much better than Joe Ryan, sounds like. And looking at his advanced sabermetrics, whatever the fuck you want to call them, whatever those like the baseball nerds look at, he's in the 97th percentile in pitching run value, which I think means movement on his pitches, and 96% in off-speed run value. So the ball moves out of his hand. And he's the 90th percentile in hard hit rate, which means guys don't hit the ball hard off of him. So that's Freddie Peralta. I think Freddie Peralta is probably the top option, obviously besides Skubal. But again, like the Tigers have not made Skubal available. They're listening to offers, obviously, because why wouldn't you? But the Tigers have not come out officially and been like, yes, like we're actively shopping Tag Skubal. That's not happening. People are just saying that because he has a year left on his deal and everybody knows Detroit's not going to resign him. It's not official yet. But if I'm the Mets, my top trade target is Freddie Peralta. And also, Stearns loves Brewers. He loves the Brewers. He's always bringing over Brewer guys. And I think Freddie Peralta would fit great in New York. He'd have a common friend in Devin Williams and David Stearns. You know, and Tyrone Taylor. I mean, fuck. We might as well just trade for everybody from Milwaukee. Now, Kris Bubic, I find very interesting. He was hurt this year, so these numbers are very inflated. But this year he had a 2.55 ERA, but the year before he had a 2.67 ERA. I'm not going to do it. He was hurt this year. Okay. But he's 28 years old. He's also got a year left on his contract. So either of these guys you'd have to re-sign, either whether it's Freddie Peralta or Kris Bubic. But you'd have to do the same thing with Skubal. So, I mean, whoever you're going to trade for, besides Joe Ryan, like they don't have control. Hit a 1.178 whip, 39 walks, 116 strikeouts, and 116 innings pitched. He's a free agent next year, and he's in the 89th percentile in chase rate, which means dudes swing and miss at his shit all the time. And he's a lefty. So that's a little added bonus. I do like Bubic. I think from the guys on this list, I'd say Freddie Peralta is 1, Kris Bubic is 2, and Joe Ryan is 3. Because, you know, if you're in win now mode, go get the best guy. Go get the best guy. Like, yes, Joe Ryan has control, but are we playing for 2026 or are we playing for 2028? Like, make up your minds. You want defense and we're in win now mode, like we said, like Steve Cohen says, then go get the guy that makes you better now. Makes you better this year. And you have the money to re-sign him. You are not the Rockies. You are not the Pittsburgh Pirates. You're not cheap. If Freddie Peralta has a great year, then you don't let him leave the building until he's a New York Met. That's what they should have done with Pete. I know Scott Boras is his agent. Scott Boras is going to do whatever Scott Boras does. But if I'm Steve Cohen, I would have walked up to Pete after the game or sometime soon and be like, what can we do today that will make you a New York Met? Or the same thing to Diaz. Like, I would have just fucking tried to lock him up as soon as I can. And you can do that with Freddie Peralta. You can do that with Kris Bubic if they have great years. And it comes down to the philosophy of win now. Like I said, a lot of people want Joe Ryan because he's young and has control, and he's good. He's very good. Like, I'm not going to say Joe Ryan's a terrible trade piece. I'd be ecstatic with Joe Ryan. But I don't think that trading top prospects for him, like, I'm not saying they should, like, I don't think Jonah Tonga is worth Joe Ryan, in my opinion. I think Jonah Tonga is going to be very good. And I think if you want control, like, if that's what you're looking for, just like control for the future in a young guy, like, then keep the prospect. Like, what does it matter? You want control of a guy, then keep the rookie that you got that has MLB experience already. He's going to start the year in AAA, and he might be MLB ready this year. So why are you going to trade him away for a guy like Joe Ryan, who's a little bit older but just has like some control? It doesn't really make sense to me. Like, wouldn't it make more sense to go trade for Freddie Peralta and hopefully don't give up either like Sprout or Tong, or let Tong develop for a year, and then worst comes to worst, they walk and then you bring up Jonah Tong? Like, that seems like the more sensible reason to me. That seems like the more sensible thing to do. Like, you're in win now mode. We keep talking about this farm system, this brilliant farm system that we got, but we're not using it. Like, we are using it, but to trade one of them for the future is kind of contradictory, because they are the future. Like, if I want to trade the future for the future, I just keep the future. But if I want to win now, I'm trading the future for now. If that makes sense. If Freddie Peralta is the best guy to go get for you to win tomorrow, to make your team better today, like that night that you're trading for, that season that's coming up, then you do that trade. You don't trade for Joe Ryan because in 2028 you'll still have him. That doesn't make sense to me. You'll still have Jonah Tong in 2028. You'll still have Brandon Sprout in 2028. You'll still have Noel McLean and Christian Scott in 2028. I'm not saying that's officially, like, they could not have him, but like, I haven't looked at their contracts. But you get my point is that you have control on these guys, and Joe Ryan is just older, and Jonah Tong is a great prospect, and so is Brandon Sprout. They're all top 100 guys. So to me, it's kind of contradictory to be trading your future on the basis of, oh, well, he's good and he has control for a long time, when Jonah Tong or Brandon Sprout can be just as good and still have control. I mean, why are we afraid of all farm system pitching staff? Do we not remember 2015? Jacob deGrom, Matt Harvey, Noah Syndergaard, Steven Matz, like all these guys, they were our prospects. Besides Bartolo, I mean, Jacob deGrom was drafted by us, developed by us. So was Matt Harvey. We traded for Syndergaard. I think we traded for Steven Matz. But they still came up in our farm system. And are still very good. And the Mets have a history of good pitching. Believe it or not, like they do. Tom Seaver, Doc Gooden, John Franco, deGrom. I mean, like, it worries me that if we trade Jonah Tong for a guy like Joe Ryan that just has a little bit more control, that's going to come back to bite us in the ass, because Jonah Tong could be very good. I mean, he showed great things. But he obviously just needs more development. He was completely rushed because of how disastrous this season was. If this season had gone to plan and the Mets were in the playoffs, and if our pitchers weren't completely incompetent, Jonah Tong would not have been in the major leagues. He would have been able to develop properly in the minor league system, which he should and will hopefully get to do this year. So you're going to give up this top prospect that everybody was talking about, that literally the whole league was talking about at one point. Jonah Tong at the most strikeouts. Look at him in the MLB, in the minor league game. Look at that curveball. He looks like Tim Lincecum. You're going to trade that guy away for Joe Ryan? I mean, like, Joe Ryan's a good name and he's a good pitcher, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, like, really? I don't know. I don't buy it. Like, I don't know. I just think Jonah Tong could be very, very good and worth so much. And the only guy that I would trade Jonah Tong for is Tarik Skubal. And I'm not a prospect hugger. Right? As soon as the trade deadline happened, I hopped on here and I defended the trade that they made. I defended trading Drew Gilbert. I defended trading Blake Tidwell, because I didn't think those guys were very good. And I think Tyler Rogers was the piece that we needed. Obviously, it didn't end up that way. But, I mean, have you heard of Blake Tidwell since? Drew Gilbert had that few good days, and now he fucking sucks. I mean, like I said, I think Drew Gilbert is a fourth outfielder in the MLB. I don't think he's going to be crazy. I mean, I hope the best for him, but I think that move had to be made. But when you talk about this farm system, there's two names that always stick in people's minds: Carson Bench and Jonah Tong. You have to be able to draw a line between guys you want to keep and guys you don't, or guys that you can move. Like for me, Jet Williams is a guy that you can move because now Marcus Simeon's there. He's at first base. Not first base, second base. And then Carson Bench is going to take your spot in center field. So where's Jet Williams going to play? He's not going to play shortstop. Beatty's kind of solidified himself at third. Oh, I keep thinking first base. And Soto's in right field. Maybe he gets to play left field. I doubt it. So if the Twins want Jet Williams, you know what? I'd say, okay, I'd deal him for that. If the Brewers want Jet Williams, for Freddie Peralta, I'd drive him there tomorrow. And then other guys, you got to look and see what happens with free agency. If you get Pete back, you could trade Ryan Clifford. If you get Diaz, you could trade a pitcher. I think Sprout is very much able to be traded. I think he's the one I would trade the most. I think McLean is not a prospect at this point. He's a full-fledged MLB starter. And I think that when Jonah Tong has that full development, who says he can't be as dominant as McLean was? I mean, do we not remember how good Nolan McLean is? So Nolan McLean and Jonah Tong were going through that same developmental process. Who's to say that he won't be as good? And Brandon Sproat is an MLB-ready pitcher who's the oldest out of all of them, but he's still pretty young. And I think that he would be, out of those three, would be the one to move. And I think he has the lowest ceiling. I mean, McLean's ceiling is very high. And Jonah Tong's ceiling, we don't know yet because he hasn't had enough experience. And he's been touted as such this high prospect. And you want to give him up for Joe Ryan? I don't know. It's just not worth it to me. I think movable prospects are Jet Williams, Brandon Sproat, Ryan Clifford if he resigns. And honestly, anybody else. I think you just had to hold on to Jonah Tong and Carson Bench. You got to draw the line at some point, unless it's for a guy like Skubal. You shouldn't give up top of the line guys for some mid, for some fucking mid. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. I want my top of the line prospects to equal to top of the line talent coming back. The A's for Mason Miller, probably one of the best closers in baseball, behind Edwin Diaz, got traded for the number 3 prospect overall. That's worth it. If I'm the A's, I'm doing that deal. I'd give up you give up my number 1 guy for a top guy at a different position. Okay. That's a fair deal. That's a great deal. Both sides are happy with that deal. The A's are happy with that deal. If I'm the Mets and I'm giving up my top prospect of this great farm system that we have for Joe Ryan, when there's so many better options, when Freddie Peralta's out there, when Chris Bubich is out there, maybe Taylor Skubal's out there, right? What happens if you trade Jonah Tong and, let's say, Jet Williams for Joe Ryan and a few other people for Joe Ryan, and then the Tigers come call on your phone next year, or later in the year, the deadline, hit the Tigers out of it, and now you don't have anyone left to trade for Skubal because you traded him for Joe Ryan. I mean, who would you want? I'd rather take my chances and let Jonah Tong develop properly than trade him away for Joe Ryan just because he's younger and has a little bit more control. So that's my opinion on the trade targets. Now, I'm going to go look at Sleeper Mets Twitter because he does post a lot of good things and he pretty much updates everything. He tweeted out that former Padres starting pitcher Michael King appears to be the Mets' top rotation target, which I love. I think Michael King is probably the best top-of-the-line starter out there. I do want Valdez. I would like Valdez. But I think Michael King and Valdez are 1A, 1B. I mean, King has proved that he can pitch in New York. He was a Yankee. And I mean, I haven't looked at the underlying stats. I looked at Valdez's, but like I just remember Michael King being very good, and when he's healthy, he's very good, and he is like capable. And when he's on, he's capable of being the top line starter. And you know what? In my opinion, we have a top of the line starter. We have Nolan McLean. I think Nolan McLean is going to be that top of the line guy. Like, do you watch him pitch last year at all? Just look at him. Look at the movement on this. On his pause. Before I say this, pause. Look at the movement on his balls. Okay. That came out so much worse than I thought it was going to. But have you seen the sweeper? It starts in the right batter's box and then ends up at your ankles. Like, it's ridiculous. His changeup cuts away from you. He has a pitch that moves in every direction. Either towards you, away from you, rides up, dips down. Everything. He's a fucking beast. And I think, yes, the more optimal thing would be to make him a 2, because imagine Nolan McLean as the second best pitcher. That'd be crazy. But he's a good fallback option to be the one guy, and if you sign Michael King to be the 2. And then you hope that just like you have to also have some faith in your starters that they don't collapse again. Like, that had to have been just some bad mojo, like God striking us down for whatever reason. That Peterson, Manaea, and Senga all collapsed the same way at the same time. Like, come on. Like, something's got to give. It's hard for me to believe that MLB and professional athletes, professional pitchers like that are going to have a collapse like that again, second year in a row. But we are the New York Mets. So that's very possible. But, you know, you have to also remember that there's pitchers in the staff already. There's so many pitchers in the staff. Peterson, Manaea, Senga, McGill, Scott, Sproat, Tonga McLean. That's fucking 8 guys that you have. They want to go with like they want to get rid of somebody. I've been a big proponent lately of trading Senga, because as good as Senga is, he's never on the field. The best ability is availability, and when you are never available for your team, you are not an asset for your team. You are not good for your team. You hurt your team. Yes, you're great, and when you're on the mound, usually it's lights out. Besides this end of last year, but if a team is willing to take a flyer on Senga and send us something in return, maybe an outfielder, I take it in a heartbeat. Because you have to. You have to clear up room in the rotation. And he's just not doing it for you. He's just not. It was the same thing with DeGrom, right? We all love DeGrom. DeGrom was a beast. DeGrom's a different breed. But DeGrom was never healthy, man. As much as we love DeGrom, this is not me shitting on DeGrom. I don't want this to get taken out of context and be like, oh, MSP, you hate Jacob DeGrom. I don't. But there came a point in his career, I was like, okay, the Mets kind of suck right now. And he's never on the field. Like, let's just let him go. Like, if you love something, set it free. I mean, and then what happened? He won a fucking World Series. Of course. But he was also hurt. Like, I think this was DeGrom's first fully healthy year in like 6 years or something. Like, it had to have been, because he was never on the field for the Mets. And when he was, again, Cy Young, back-to-back. Should have been 3 years in a row. He should have won the Cy Young. But he was never healthy. I never wanted to trade DeGrom, because DeGrom's on a different level than Senga. He's nowhere close to Kodai Senga. But Senga is still very valuable. And he's not as good as DeGrom, so you're not going to wait around for Senga. He's also much older. He doesn't have DeGrom's stuff. So he's not as valuable as DeGrom. But he's still valuable. You know why? Because he's very cheap. They're only paying him like $14 million. So a team that... I think a team like like San Francisco, that can afford to kind of wait, that they would take a flyer on Senga for starting pitching. I think they would. I think he'd be a great fit there. Or like, I don't know off the top of my head. Like maybe Baltimore, like they would take a flyer on Kodai Senga. But I think it's in the Mets' best interest to look to trade Kodai Senga and clear up a spot in the rotation for signing a guy like Michael King or Framber Valdez. I do think Michael King is the more likely scenario. I don't think the Mets like Framber Valdez. And, I don't blame them. He kind of seems like a douche, especially the instant with throwing his catcher, but, I don't know. I try not to pay much attention to that. I understand, but, I don't know. Things get heated, we're dudes. If you're listening to this and you're a guy, you understand, bro. You never been pissed at your boy before? I don't know. But I think they made it pretty clear that Valdez is not their top option. I mean, most reports have been Andy Martino. I mean, I don't fucking trust Andy Martino for the life of me, but he said that it'd be very shocking, I guess, if the Mets signed Framber Valdez. He's not likely to land there. And someone did say that Michael King was their top rotation prospect. Right? Not prospect, but their top rotation piece for free agency. Now, there's a scenario where if they sign a Valdez or Michael King, and then if they wanted to trade one of Sprout or Tong for Freddie Peralta, I would be okay with it. I know I just went a whole rant about I want equal back and forth, blah, blah. Oh, my God. I just got a tweet from Sleeper Mets that the Mets have shown interest in Peralta and Trevor McGill, and I thought that was going to say that they just traded for him. But, what I was saying, because now in my mind, you replace Sprout and Tong with Michael King and Freddie Peralta. And in my head, that sounds fine to me. Now I'm getting that value back between two guys, frontline ace, and a very solid 2 for 2 prospects. 2 very good prospects, but prospects nonetheless. I would rather it be Sprout, and I would hope it was Sprout. Nothing against Sprout. I just think Jonah Tong is going to be very good. But then in my mind, I'd be okay with trading one of those 2 guys. What else I want to talk about? The Mets didn't offer Kyle Schwarber, I think, but they've shown interest in Kyle Schwarber. So, I mean, everyone's shown interest in Kyle Schwarber. But, so far, no, the meetings have been kind of mid. They've just been mid. Nothing's really happened. Nothing would happen at all. Nothing's happened so far. So, I'm probably going to end it there. Please let me know if you want any college football playoff content, because I've been dying to talk about it. I know I talk about baseball, and obviously I'm a Mets fan account, but I coach football. I love football. I grew up playing football. I played football in college. I would love to talk about football. And if anyone would like to hear it, I would gladly do it, because I think the committee got it right, and Notre Dame needs to stop being a bunch of bitches. And I would love to talk about it. And if that's something you guys want to hear, you can DM me if you listen to this, or leave a comment down below. If I see it, I see it, and we'll go from there. But anyways, hopefully tomorrow's more entertaining. Hopefully something happens. Hopefully the Mets get an outfielder. Hopefully the Mets get a starting pitcher. A part of me is kind of not counting on it. A part of me is kind of thinking that David Stearns is just going to roll it back with the same strategy he's been using for years now, and sign guys that are projects. I made a post today about they signed some Nationals pitcher who got prospect. Yes, I know they need to fill out the roster. I know they need to fill out the minor league roster. I know they need to do this and that. It's like, bro, come the fuck on. Come on. I'm impatient. I want to see a big name being signed. I want to see you guys actually fucking do something. I've heard enough. I've heard enough of the, this guy has very good stuff, but his command is off. But if we could fix him, he'll be very good. I'm like, okay. And so is Brandon Waddell, and so is Justin Hageman. And so, I don't want to see spot starts this year. I can't stand spot starts. I fucking hate them. They're the worst. You use up your whole fucking bullpen. And you're like, I want to see a pitcher go on the mound. I want to see the pitcher pitch. I don't want to see Braziban for an inning, and then you bring in AJ Minter, and then you bring in Danny Young, and then you bring in Brandon Waddell for 5 innings, and then you bring in fucking who else? You bring in some dude from the snack shack to pitch the 5th inning, to pitch the 9th inning. Like I don't want it. Give me a starter. I'm a big fan of 6-man rotations. I love that shit. Give me more of that shit. All right, that's it. Let's go Mets. Let me know if you want me to do any college football or NFL football. I'll talk about that too. I feel college is more entertaining in my opinion. But yep. Let me know down below. Thank you for all listening to this because I don't make any money from this. I don't do, whatever. I do it for the love of the game. And it's always cool to, kind of take a step back and remind myself I have an audience now, which I never thought I ever would. I mean, only 50. Well, unless you guys are both subscribed on YouTube and Spotify, I'd say you got about like 100 you guys listening, which never in my life did I ever think that was possible. Oh, 250 streams. Nice. Let's see how many, 44 total followers. So I almost got 100 followers. And for the 100-ish of you guys that listen, like, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I wish I could do more. I want to do like a giveaway soon. When I get my first job, I'll do like a giveaway. That's something I want to do. I don't really know how that works because I don't want to like DM you guys for like your mailing addresses and shit because I feel like that's weird. But I feel bad. But like I wouldn't do anything with it. I don't know. It's just weird to me. But like, thank you guys for listening to this. Sometimes I might not know what I'm talking about. Oh, that's okay because nobody knows what they're talking about because it's all subjective. Right? Thank you. Like, this is really fun. Even though I'm just sitting in my basement talking to a microphone, talking to myself. I do this, I play out these scenarios in my head. And I don't want to say I talk to myself like a crazy person, but like I do. And I know that's all right. Now, I could talk on a podcast. Do it. When I talk to myself in my basement without a microphone, it's crazy. But when I do it with a microphone, I'm a podcaster. Funny how that works. All right. I'm yapping, and I'm going to go to bed. So, peace.